Okay, guys, and welcome back to another episode on the podcast. I've got to say a quick thank you to everyone from the past year. Looking at the Spotify Wrapped, if you saw the story, we've increased the audience by 192%. So the support is clearly there, and I have to say a big thank you to all of you who have tuned in throughout the year. If it was just for an episode, if you watched 5 episodes, or if you just liked a reel, liked a story, or even put down a hate comment, I I appreciate you for giving me some sort of engagement and keeping this thing going for me. But back into the episode, a few months ago, I watched this video, and I'm pretty confident it was Simon Sinek, and he was talking about vulnerability, and he said something that I guess just it was stuck in my brain, and I was thinking about it for a while, and he said that you can't experience true vulnerability through a screen. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I don't know if that's right because, I mean, I'm sure you can. Like, through a FaceTime call, you can obviously be vulnerable with your mate. But then I was thinking about it over the past couple of weeks. I was like, shit, you really can't experience true vulnerability just through a screen. And a lot of the time through posting about something. I could go on here and talk about all my problems that I've ever had, mental health, um, physical problems that have affected me, emotional problems, like anything that I want and any problem that's happened in my life. But I won't be able to truly experience vulnerability unless it's with someone in person. And the feeling and the uncomfortableness and everything that you get from vulnerability and making yourself feel weak with another person present with you is it's actually like indescribable. Like you can't really explain how full on the feeling is of that. And that's what vulnerability is. Vulnerability, it's basically making yourself feel weak and displaying, I guess, weakness. And it doesn't have to be like you crying all the time or having to be vulnerable all the time. It can literally just you being saying I'm wrong, or asking for help, asking for advice or on something, or it can just be you opening up about something that's been going on. I don't know if it's just me and it's just my algorithm, but I've been getting a lot of TikToks about people crying, like people crying over random things, and most of the time it's just about stupid stuff, like someone was rude to them that day or things like that. And watching those videos, it made me realize it's actually it is very easy to just record yourself when you're crying and post about it. And it's kind of sick because people are reaching for their phone to record themselves crying and having mental breakdowns and all this stuff. They do that before they call a friend. And obviously, I don't know everyone that has these mental breakdowns, and I don't know what a mental breakdown feels like. So I guess I don't know, and I haven't experienced that kind of thing. But it's actually kind of sad to think that people are reaching for their phones and reaching to film themselves and take photos of themselves crying before they call their friend. And I obviously don't know if they have good friends or not. And that's a big thing that I'm getting into is the ability for someone to feel vulnerable is so dependent on the people that they have around them and the trust that they have with those people as well. Because you can have like, especially with guys it's a lot harder because our friendships are usually very surface level. Like we have best mates who are just surface level people. Like we know the basic stuff about them. But I think that like blokes, they make good mates based on experiences they have with them. Whereas women are so much more emotional, and that's why they're more vulnerable with their mates and with their friends all the time, because they are a lot of the time a lot more emotionally intelligent than men, and that's just a fact. Like they understand how people think and they understand the emotions that go through people's heads, whereas blokes kind of shift that away and they sweep it under the rug. And that's why a lot of the time it's really, really hard for blokes to be vulnerable with their friends. And with vulnerability, I think a lot of the time it's people lacking trust. It's guys lacking trust in their mates and their own disbelief as well, of being vulnerable and having all that information shared. That's the scary part, I think, most, because I remember when I first opened up to two of my really close mates about, I don't know, so it was about, I think it was my grandma passing away, and I opened up to them about that, and it was just the idea of them going and telling people and everyone knowing that my grandma's passed away. That scared me. And that's why it makes it really hard for some blokes to open up, because they're scared of that information going out. And that's just a big trust thing. It's a big trust, I guess, issue. A lot of blokes have trust issues. They find it hard to trust people very easily. Whereas girls, like, they meet one girl on a night out and they're eventually just best mates from one night. And I guess that's just trust not being built in male friendships very easily. Like, I'm very comfortable with telling my mates when I'm not doing well. And I think they are as well. But I think it's a trust and care and displaying that you care for your mate and prove to them that they can trust you is the hard part. Because if you don't show that you care for someone, how are you going to expect for them to be able to be open with you and trust you with all this secret information when you want them to tell you and you want to offer help, but they're not willing to tell you because they think that you don't care enough? Like, you're always giving this bloke shit. You're always fucking putting him under the bus. And you never actually give some sort of, like, kindness to him. Like, you never say, "Man, I'm just joking. Like, I just want to make sure you're alright." Because I think that reassurance is so important. And when you don't give that to someone, especially a guy, like, we're very easy to turn off, and especially in, like, friendships. Like, we can just switch it off straight away. And so can girls, to be fair. But I'm not a girl, so I only know the kind of the male mind. But I think I saw a video as well, and same guy, Simon Sinek, and he said that trust isn't developed by offering help, but by asking for it. And that made so much sense to me, especially like when I opened up to a few of my mates about stuff that was going on with me. Immediately I feel like disgusting in my stomach when I even think about it. But yeah, when I opened up to them about something that happened in my life, that immediately forms such a close friendship, because you've given them something that they can, it sounds fucked up, but they can use against you whenever they want. And they can tell whoever they want, but you're giving them your cards, you're showing them your hand, and you're giving them this test to see if you are a good enough mate to hold that information of mine. And trust is such a fucking big thing for me. Like, I keep my cards pretty close to my chest with new people. Like, I'm an open book, but with certain stuff, like, especially about other people and stuff that's, I guess, made me who I am and whatnot, I keep that pretty close to my chest, and it's hard for me to tell people. Like, I reckon there's probably a handful of people in my life that, except for family, that really know a lot about me, or like know a large amount of stuff about me, and that I've gone through. And that's how I'd like it to be. Like, I don't need a fucking group of 20 people that know everything about my life. I need like 5 or 6 people in my life that really understand and that really get what I've been through. And that's not me trying to say that I've fucking gone through war and whatnot, gone to hell and back, but like everyone has a story. Everyone's got something to them that makes them who they are. Like everyone's had something happen to them, and everyone's experienced some shit. And I only like having a handful of people knowing about that stuff. That's why I'm very hesitant with, I guess, very I don't know why I said very, but I guess girls I'm becoming close with and I start seeing, I'm not hesitant, sorry, but I do take a long time to, I guess, open up. And I'm actually still yet to open up with a girl about, like, I guess, my whole life and, I guess, trauma kind of stuff. Because that stuff's very, very personal to me. And I completely understand why some people never open up to people, because it's fucking hard. Like, being vulnerable fucking sucks. Because you're literally putting yourself in the middle of the firing zone. Like, you're giving people ammunition to fucking shoot you down immediately. And it can be the hardest thing when you don't have mates that are supportive. Like, I am so lucky that I've got such a good group of mates that are supportive of me. Like, they give me shit every now and then about everything, like the podcast and whatnot, but they're unbelievably supportive about what I do, and they care a lot about me, and we're all caring for each other. And we've shown to each other, I guess, like why we're best mates with each other, why we're so close with each other over time. And that's because, like, we actually care for each other. Like, if I knew my mate was down and he was acting different, and I asked him straight away, and I kept going, because when my mates are upset, I just don't take, oh, I'm fine, for an answer. Especially like if it's a one-on-one setting, like it's just me and my mate. I don't take that shit. And eventually starts opening up, and he's like, yeah, I've just been having a shit week, or just been like sad over the past couple of days. I would be pissed off that they don't text me or call me or ask me for help, because that's what being a good friend to someone is. That's what being someone's best mate is about. Like, on someone's birthday, are you going to be the bloke that shoots them a short text or puts up one story? Or are you going to be the person that actually calls them and asks them to hang out for their birthday, or do something for their birthday, or even call them and say happy birthday and have a good chat with them, instead of just doing something that's easy? Because it is all about your actions and what you do for that person that show how close you are with them. And I guess with the idea of vulnerability, I guess, like, in a very simple sense, like, it displays weakness. And a lot of guys immediately think, I can't talk about my feelings, I can't talk about how I'm going, or I can't talk about, oh, I've just been broken up with and I'm really sad with my mates because I don't want to seem weak. And I think that is the most fucking stupid thing ever. Like, that stuff actually annoys me. Like I said before, when my mate is having a bad week, or he's actually depressed and he doesn't call or text me or ask me for help, like, that stuff pisses me off, because it's selfish. Like, and this is a pretty full-on idea, but the idea of when someone commits suicide, it's seen to a lot of people as being a selfish act. And I think it goes for the same thing as someone being depressed and not asking for help, because you're doing a disservice and you're robbing your friend of having the luxury of being able to help you out and be with you in that moment when you're sad and when you're depressed, or when you're just feeling like shit for a day or two and you have no one to talk to, so you call them up. you're robbing them of that experience to be able to help you. Because if your mate doesn't want to help you or doesn't want to comfort you in that situation, they're honestly not your mate, because anyone that actually cares about you would immediately jump into a car and fucking drive over to your house and help you out. So, like, as a whole, men obviously struggle so much with vulnerability, and obviously women, I'm not going to say they don't, but they find being vulnerable a lot easier than what men do. And that's because of their maturity. Like, they mature a lot quicker. That's why when girls are like upset on a night out, all girls immediately comfort them straight away, because they understand. And that's why I think it's actually so important for guys to have really close female mates. Like, I've really got like two like super close female mates that know just about everything about me. And that's because they're very understanding. They're so easy to vent to because they understand, and they're very emotionally mature. They emotionally mature a lot quicker than men, because a lot of the time, depending on the bloke, obviously, and this is different for every guy, but most of the time, guys don't know how to comfort people when they're feeling vulnerable. And that's like what I've experienced. That's also because in Australia, it's obviously promoted. It's very promoted in Australia to be vulnerable, and all these mental health campaigns and programs, but it's just the culture of being a blokey bloke in Australia and being the tough guy and fucking all this stuff about being the hard-nosed bloke. It makes it hard to be vulnerable as a bloke in Australia. But it honestly depends who you're around. It's so much about your social circle, because they're the outlets. They're 100% the outlets to you getting stuff off your chest and being a better person overall. But yeah, that comes to the end of this episode. This is more of just a off the dome kind of rant kind of thing about vulnerability, because it's a big thing in my life. I'm very strong on being vulnerable, and I think it's just very important. And it also helps that I finally thought of a good episode idea, because fuck, it's been a week since I've thought of anything and posted, so I need to get this out straight away because I'm filming it on the day. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next week.